buy a pair of yoga pants and they look great first workout. They trap sweat like a plastic bag. Looking tough on a hanger means absolutely nothing. The real test begins when fabric meets real-life sweat, friction, washing, heat, movement, and chemicals. That's exactly why serious manufacturers put garments through brutal physical and chemical testing before they even reach the customer. Today, we are uncovering how physical and chemical garment testing actually works and why serious manufacturers torture their products in labs before trusting them onto the humans.
Let's begin with the term itself. GPT stands for Garment Package Test or Garment Performance Test, and it's a term you'll hear regularly throughout the garment industry. The name speaks for itself. GPT isn't a single test, it's a package of testing requirements defined by the buyer. It's more like a medical checkup. You don't walk into a hospital, have one test, and suddenly know everything about your health. The doctor checks your blood pressure, your heart, your lungs, and a whole list of other things. Garments are no different. GPT is a package of performance and safety tests that verifies whether a finished garment meets the buyer's requirements. Every customer has their own testing package depending on the product they're buying. A basic cotton t-shirt may require only a handful of tests, while a high-performance outdoor jacket could require dozens. The more demanding the job, the more demanding the tests. Once the garment samples are completed, they're sent either to an in-house laboratory or an independent third-party laboratory for testing. The test results then become part of the buyer's approval process before production can move forward. Think of it as the garment's final exam. If it passes, it graduates into production. If it doesn't, well, it's back to the drawing board. Here are some examples of garment testing packages that a buyer might require before approving a product. Take a moment to look through them. You'll notice that each package contains a different combination of tests and standards. Don't worry about memorizing every test name. The important thing is to understand the purpose behind them. Although the package may contain dozens of different tests, they're all designed to answer just a few fundamental questions about the finished garment. The first question is, can the garment survive washing? A customer doesn't care whether your garment looked perfect when it came off the sewing line. They care what it looks like after they've washed it 5 or 10 times. Nobody has ever left a 5-star review saying, "It looked amazing before I washed it." Does it shrink? Does it twist? Does the collar stay flat? Does the garment lose its shape? To find out, technicians wash and dry the garment repeatedly according to a specified washing standard, then compare its measurements and appearance before and after the test. A t-shirt that looks fantastic in the factory but suddenly fits your Labrador instead of you has clearly failed its real-world test. The second question is, can the garment stay together? Fabric never has seams. Garments do. Every stitch, every pocket, every zipper, every button, and every belt loop becomes a potential weak point. Think of it as a chain. It doesn't matter if 99 links are made of steel, when one is made of overcooked spaghetti. For example, during a button pull test, a testing machine applies increasing force to the button to make sure it won't come off during normal use. Ideally, the button should survive years of wear, not fly across the room halfway through a wedding dinner. A zipper durability test repeatedly opens and closes the zipper hundreds or even thousands of times to check that it continues to function smoothly. We've all owned that jacket where the zipper worked perfectly in the fitting room and then decided to retire permanently on Monday morning. Sometimes the fabric itself is perfectly strong, but the sewing construction becomes the weakest link. The third question is, can the garment still do the job it was designed to do? This depends entirely on the product. A rain jacket must keep water out. Sportswear should stretch and recover. Outdoor clothing may need protection from wind and rain, while performance apparel may require breathability or moisture management. A raincoat that lets rain in is about as reassuring as a lifeguard who can't swim. Take a UV protective rash vest as an example. You might think it's enough to test the fabric for its UPF rating. In fact, UPF testing is primarily based on the fabric's ability to block ultraviolet radiation. However, for UV protective garments, many buyers also require the finished product to be verified because the garment is worn, stretched, and exposed to real-life conditions. Testing standards such as AATCC 183 or AS/NZS 4399 evaluate the material in dry, stretched, or even wet conditions to simulate actual use. After all, customers don't stand perfectly flat under laboratory lights. They swim, surf, paddle, stretch, and generally behave like well humans. A rash vest that claims UPF 50+ must still provide that level of protection when someone is actually wearing it, not just when the fabric is lying flat on a laboratory bench. Likewise, a waterproof jacket may be exposed to increasing water pressure to see whether any leakage occurs, while stretch garments may be repeatedly stretched and released to ensure they recover their original shape instead of becoming loose and baggy. The goal is always the same: to prove that the garment can still perform the function it was designed for in the real world. The fourth question is, can the garment keep looking good? Modern garments are much more than fabric and thread. Some garments have more accessories than a Swiss Army knife. They include prints, embroidery, heat transfers, reflective tapes, elastic bands, draw codes, and labels. A printed logo, for example, may be washed repeatedly and then stretched or bent to check whether it cracks or peels. A premium logo shouldn't start looking like an archaeological excavation after 2 trips through the washing machine. Elastic waistbands may be stretched hundreds of times to ensure they recover properly. Customers often notice a cracked print or a broken zipper long before they notice perfect stitching. The fifth question is the garment safe to wear? This is especially important for children's clothing. Small parts such as buttons or decorative accessories may be pulled with specialized equipment to ensure they cannot be easily detached and become choking hazards. Drawstrings are checked for their length and placement to reduce the risk of accidents. Here, testing isn't just about quality, it's about protecting the person wearing the garment. Now you may be wondering, what about chemical testing? Why didn't we cover things like formaldehyde, pH, and azo dyes? Yes, and this is an important distinction. Many brands also require chemical testing on the finished garment. However, these are chemical compliance tests, not garment performance tests. Their purpose isn't to see how the garment performs, but to ensure it complies with safety regulations and the brand's restricted substances list, or RSL. In fact, many of these are the same tests we covered in our fabric testing episode, just performed on the finished garment to verify that nothing introduced during dyeing, printing, washing, or garment manufacturing has caused the product to exceed the permitted limits. Nobody buys a t-shirt because it passed a formaldehyde test, but everybody expects it to be safe enough to wear. If you've already watched our episode on fabric testing, you'll notice that these two topics complement each other perfectly. Fabric testing asks, is this material suitable for making a garment? Garment performance testing asks, now that we've made the garment, can it survive real life? One evaluates the raw material, the other evaluates the finished product. Because at the end of the day, nobody walks into a clothing store and says, "Excuse me, may I try on that fabric?" They try on garments. And those garments have to survive washing machines, backpacks, office chairs, airports, family holidays, playgrounds, and everything else life throws at them. That's why both fabric testing and garment performance testing are essential. One makes sure you're starting with the right material. The other proves you've created a garment that's ready for the real world.
So now you understand why garment testing is such a critical part of modern manufacturing. Because a garment doesn't earn its quality by looking good under showroom light, it earns by surviving stress, washing, movement, chemicals, and real human use. But just like fabric inspection, the garment industry also relies on a global inspection system to decide whether a shipment passes or fails. And in the next episode, we'll break down the AQL system used by factories and brands across the industry. BSKB Bite-Sized Knowledge Bombs is powered by Blossom 360, a fashion educational tour designed to demystify the industry through factory tours and real-world training. Ideal for academic professionals looking to bridge the gap between theory and practice, this program offers fashion educators a hands-on refresher on the real-world manufacturing processes and industry mechanics shaping today's markets. Whether you're a student, a designer, or an entrepreneur, Blossom 360 provides the clarity the industry usually hides. Subscribe to catch the next knowledge bomb. Give us a like if you feel more like an industry insider, and we'll see you on the next episode.